Fabrizio Romano, what did he say? What's he saying?
Yes. Well, Fabrizio, he's like, well, transfer window's nearly shut. Got to make some content, mate. So he's spoken about Manchester United looking for a midfielder. And he has said in a YouTube video, a new midfielder will join Manchester United in 2026, brackets January. Now, it remains to be seen if it's a top player like Baleba, as the deal will be difficult, or an opportunity on the market like Conor Gallagher. Of course, two players that Manchester United did pursue at different points in the summer transfer window. Baleba was that midfield target that was like, this could be, we're doing it a year early. We're taking from next year's budget and we're going to sign Baleba for 100 million quid. Didn't turn out happening. Conor Gallagher was like a last couple of days of the window kind of situation of, is he available on a loan? And then Atletico Madrid went no. But effectively what Romano is saying there is we might pick that pursuit up in January, whether it is, once again, knocking on the door of Brighton, going, do you fancy doing business 6 months earlier than we were going to do it? Or do they go back to someone maybe like Atletico or another team and go, this player's not playing, we'll take him on loan for the rest of the season. We're going to get a midfielder, says Romano. Thoughts?
It's crazy because we could get into the midfielder stuff, but I feel there's like an INEOS type conversation at the same time, because this has been super impressive what they've done.
Brown envelope. You're just an INEOS super fight. KG, I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it. You're all bought and paid for. You're not a real fan.
I know. But then we have to be honest and say, look, and you can give Amrin the credit as well. INEOS, Amrin, like they had, this was a strategy for the first time that we haven't seen in this club. And obviously we're praising the stuff that should be happening, but it hasn't been. So I don't think you can not mention it. A lot of people say, well, the club should have been doing that. So I'm not going to give you any credit for doing your job. But like Man United, literally, Rasmus Højlund, the way they got him out, I'm not going to change it. I'm not changing it altogether.
That's so rude.
I did think, I'm not going to lie. I did kind of think of, you missed
plan.
On Friday, Flex, he said, this is genuinely true. I'm not going to be negative, but I hate. That was literally what he said. So it's entirely possible he could come in and go, thank you for that question. But what I want to answer is...
There's a tie-in. I will say this, look. This has all been planned out. There's part of the master... What's the Andy Tate thing? Part of the master planning, wasn't it? Or something like that. One of the lines. Yeah. Because this is really... what it feels like. These guys have said, I'm going to get all these expensive players off the books because that was important. And then maybe we go back to the likes of, because I now believe it's Baleba that we're going to go and try and pick up. I believe it's Baleba and Jan. Because you don't want to, it's going to be difficult to get Baleba in the World Cup type year with everything going on. It'll just be so hard and other clubs ready to pounce. Jan is going to be our best attempt at this. Now, Man United had to be cautious. I feel that obviously you still had these high wages at the club. They've cleared everything now. Sancho, gone. Rashford, gone. Anthony, gone. Because the window could have closed and they could have stayed and you would have been in a lot of problems. Now there's we've got one more thing to do. And a lot of people said if we bought in a midfielder, this window would have been like a 9, 10. We're I'm not saying we're one player away from winning.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like...
No. We're that one player away from you lot say the bow on a great window. That's what I'm saying. So not one player away from winning, but just one, there's one signing when everyone would have said that could have been a 10 out of 10 window. In comparison to Man United, in the context of Man United. So I just think we had this great, INEOS deserves some credit for that because I was calling them broke billionaires, or calling them all sorts of names when Sir Jim arrived. And the plan is planning, really. So yeah, shout out to them.
What are you saying, Dev?
It's all music to my ears because I've been saying this for a long time. Even I saw the method in the madness of why they were doing some of the stuff that they were doing. And even on here, I had to do my best to talk through some of the harsher decisions that they were making and what the kind of...
Yeah, I do remember that, actually. I remember, through the thing, you've been one of the... I hate the term INEOS backer, all of that crap. But where you've seen, when everyone's nah, these guys ain't got a clue. I do remember you've always been listen, I can see it.
That's what I mean. Like, I just saw the method in it, but it was more, I sympathize with them quite a lot because I was like, the mess that they walked into wasn't of their own making. And it's like they had to come in and fix what I think a lot of regimes couldn't fix in one window. And more importantly, on the Baleba or the midfielder debate, the amount of money we're saving now, and you look at book values, you look at how much we don't have to pay anymore. The fact that we have that and we're going into the January window, this could be one of our best January windows ever. Personally, I think it's going to be. I don't know who we're going to get. I personally think we could look for more bodies or look for some decent players. But if Baleba is available, I think, like KG said, like we want him. And INEOS, I think they're going to try their best to get him because that's what they've done with Cunha. Did it with Mbermo. Like probably overpaid out of all of them for Seshko, you could say. But if he comes good, then it's not an overpayment. But I think they want Baleba, and I think they're going to try and get him. So I think January is going to be big. And they said, like, the reason last season we were so hamstrung in January with only getting Dorgu and Heaven is because of all the players that I just mentioned who were still taking a wage packet, but they're not there anymore. And I think people are underplaying that. Like, some have gone permanently. Some have gone for pure profit value. Yes, you can argue 5 to 10 million here or there for each of them. But for over £1 million in wages to be saved in one window, that's mad. So I respect their game, and I think it's going to be a good January.
High praise from Dev. Bradley, are you feeling this level of optimism with the work that INEOS have done?
And I actually do think we might actually land Baleba in January because he's on 12 grand a week at Brighton. So I think the personal terms won't be an issue. And I think we might have turned his head because I've looked at Brighton in the first 3 games and he didn't look great. And that's why he got subbed off. So we might have turned his head, or it could be match fitness potentially, but we could have turned his head. And also, I think if we had sold players earlier on, I think we might have put a big bid in for him at the end of the window. So I think we've got that money there ready to put a bid in.
I mean, it's interesting you said. I know there was that thing about he's got the 12k wages. I did see some people, like even some Brighton podcasters, like, listen, he's not on that. What? I've got their wages up now. Is that true? Baleba, where's Baleba? Let me see that now.
You mean to say the internet lies?
I know, right? Baleba. He's not at the top, that's for sure. Could Lewis Dunk, bloody hell. Then again, there you go. It does say 12.5 there, to be fair, on Capology, but and that's what we use, and we do use that for everything else. But I have seen that online a lot, that he's actually not on that, and that's a load of.
Well, when you type it into Google Flex, it literally, like, you type in Baleba wages, and it says like Carlos Baleba. It literally, the AI overview goes, earns an estimated 12.5k a week. All right, above that is an article from We Are Brighton, which says Brighton do not pay Baleba weekly wages of 12,500. So,
but is that just a PR move?
Yeah,
from them.
Right. Yeah, I think it's clear to see, or clear to say, or safe to say that he's not on a lot. He's not on mad. Even if it's a light 20 or 18 or 25 or 30, I don't know.
Do you think they'd be really contesting the fact that it might be like a grand high or whatever? We don't pay him 12.5k, okay? We pay him 13.1. Okay, so if you're going to say it, get it right.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So, Bradley, you feel like INEOS actually have done a good job. And can you see where Dev's saying it, and like a lot of people are saying it, KG saying it, and a lot of people online, that like they can actually see the strategy, like, you know, Omar Barada's on this like 2 years and you're out, or we need these players gone, be ruthless, get them, like they have done that.
I also understand how they've built the squad as well, because the first summer and the first January was built around bringing in defenders who brought in Dorgu.
The main heartbeat of the team is the midfield, and you know, we saw how we were trying to get Baleba, couldn't do it. Is it going to be him in January? I don't know. Are we going to have 100 M's in January to try and get him? I don't know.
I don't know. 80 though.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be
80. It's going to be difficult, man.
80.
I can't. I think it'd be tough to do that. I think personally, who knows, but I've got a feeling it'll be like, I don't know, a bit more attainable. I don't know. We tried to get Conor Gallagher, didn't we? Maybe he comes in January.
But we're not going to go. We're not going to wait for Jan to bring in Conor Gallagher on. It wouldn't make sense, because we should have just tried hard.
Baleba in Jan, bro. Big 100 transfer.
It depends, though, KG, though, with that, though, doesn't it? I mean, because it depends on a lot of different factors. We signed Marcel Sabitzer in January for 6 months, because we had an injury. Well, no, but the point being is, like, who's to say that we go, actually, we're going to get Baleba in the summer. We just get someone in for 6 months. Just because you signed them for 6 months doesn't mean you're committing to buying them or anything like that, does it?
Atletico was, because if Gallagher's left out of the Atletico side, I would kind of understand that. But if he's been played, then they're gonna.
I'm saying forget Gallagher. I'm saying just that type of player. Don't specifically.
Baleba's probably going to play every game from now to Gallagher.
It could be anyone, couldn't it? It could be any midfielder that someone has a falling out of a club or a manager, or they're a little bit out of form, coming back from an injury. I mean, you never know. And we might have a situation come January where suddenly the midfield is actually, we can wait until the summer anyway. There might be a thing in January where, like, actually, you know what? It's fine. It's the midfield's fine.
No, just get us through. Only got 1 game a week.
Yeah.
And it does feel like.
Go on. I was going to say that I feel that these guys, the one thing that they're doing different to what we're used to is they're not just doing stopgap for no reason. Because the old United would have Woodward and Sons, like, and the group, Gallagher would have been in as a player. We would have bought him. Yeah. We would have. They said to us, "Hey." We went there, said, "Can we get him on loan?" They're like, "Nah, it's got to be obligation," and the club would have done it. But now we're saying we've seen it.
I don't think
now so it's a bit different.
I don't think a January loan though is a stopgap for no reason. I think that's something that is literally just get you to the end of the season. Really, you never really look at those as kind of long-term stuff unless someone does unbelievably well that you're like, oh, they have to stay. But more often than not, it might be a thing of come January. I lean more towards, I don't expect us to be like spending 100 million on Baleba unless Brighton suddenly change their stance on it. If Brighton changed their mind and then said, actually, you know what, we'll take that offer that you were saying to us in the summer. Let's do it now. Let's do it a bit earlier. Then maybe that could happen. But otherwise, I mean, how often do you see big transfers in January? Enzo Fernandez was January, wasn't he? Something
he was
like
55, isn't it? 50, 55.
Would you have thought that at the beginning of the summer?
What, they would go for that much money or just leave?
Or do you reckon it's going to be a lot? I think that's quite low for Brighton.
Very.
Based on.
That's low.
Yeah, but it does feel like a bit of a step, but he's not a high
didn't he
volume
push for
scorer.
it, didn't he push for it as well?
But what I mean is, if you don't inquire about these things, then how are you supposed to know? So I actually think we could get him for 80 plus 20. I'm convinced.
I think we did inquire, didn't we? But then Hurtzler came out in a press conference like he's not going anywhere, and then it was that hours quickly. I think Man United did legitimately try over the summer. They just very quickly found out. That's why it only lasted a couple of days, wasn't it? Which like,
we definitely inquired.
They had a look.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think they're still sitting around going like, oh, how much do they want for him?
Well, there was when they called up and then they kind of got the dial-in tone and just. They gave them no price, basically, is the kind of vibe.
Yeah, we didn't even know what it was.
You know that player doesn't depreciate. So we're going to say that if they valued him at plus, Man United didn't even try and put in a bid. If it was close to the 70s, 80s and stuff, they would at least, taken a punt. There was no point. They just said to themselves, we're not getting involved in this one. So now you're at a stage where if we do go back, I think it's a significant bid that's gonna like 90 million with signing add-ons potentially. That's probably what we're gonna have to do, and we kept our powder dry to be able to do that instead of just going for a stopgap guy. January, go for it, best chance, because when that other window opens, I don't think we did
though, KG. I think again that money that was set aside to go for Baleba was from next year's budget, so I don't think it's a case of United being like, oh, I think whatever we spent on Le Mans was still within this year's budget or anything like that. So if we did sign, let's say we signed Carlos Baleba in January, I think it's the same pot as it was going to be in the summer, which is next year's money, isn't it? So that's what I mean. I think the only thing that can change that whole situation if Brighton suddenly decide that actually, yeah, we're moving up a little bit. We're happy to do business in January because.
What about Adam Wharton?
He might be another one. Maybe
something we're just not. It might be two. He might do the double.
Yeah,
we need more than one midfielder. Not just in Jam, but we like next season. Casemiro's gone, so we definitely need more than. Yeah, we definitely need more than one midfielder. Like I think there's, to be honest, like in terms of the top levels, you're looking at Baleba, Wharton. That's like the pinnacle of where we're probably going to be looking at for young midfielders. But there's a few out there that I think like we were linked with that definitely people like spoke about. But